Hi, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my journey to sustainable health and meaningful success. And today I am going to just wrap up my Amway story. It might be a little bit longer of a video, but I wanted to hear from my family because I think that they have a lot of perspective that I did not have. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me asking me if I had any advice to help somebody out of an MLM. And honestly, because I haven't done it, I figured that I would just get the opinions from the people who mattered most to me, although seemingly not at the time, the people who were the biggest players in helping me get out of Amway. If you want a little bit more context and you haven't been following my videos, I will link all of my Amway videos down below. You can watch them at your leisure, but I think that this is going to be really good perspective.
What were some red flags of my new business group when I first got in?
You withdrew from the family, I think, and when we saw things going a certain way, being in business myself, and asking you questions, your answers were very guarded. And then when I heard out how some of the amounts of money that you were doling out, and I wanted to talk to you, and I said, well, we should get some spreadsheets. All of a sudden, you became very gone.
Yeah.
So, it was. We knew, I think we knew early on that this was something that was beyond our control.
The biggest red flag for me was that you didn't give me any, you were real reticent to give me details about what it was you were doing. And when I asked for more details about oh, hey, so what's the group or what's the principle, you wouldn't tell me. It took a lot of prodding to get you to say something like Amway.
I remember hearing that you had to buy a certain amount of product, and I also remember seeing that your products were so overpriced. I knew that from just a economic supply and demand standpoint, you couldn't be profitable.
When I was having a conversation with you, you had canned answers. So there are other cults out there that tell you exactly what to say, and they tell you what people are going to say to you.
Right.
So they preempt everything, and then you have a canned answer. And so that red flag was that you stopped thinking for yourself.
And I was just regurgitating things that my upline had told me.
They would keep you out late. They would basically keep you tired all the time, control all your time, so that every waking moment other than work, you were running off to contact. And then they had, and they didn't care at all for your physical well-being. I mean, if it was sleeting and snowing and hailing and 4 inches of ice, they'd still have their meeting, and you would still drive an hour and a half down to go to their meeting. And then they'd keep you up until 2 a.m. with a night owl, and you would drive tired all the time. You wrecked a car driving tired because they had and they didn't care if you were donating plasma to pay the bills, if you were staying up late, it was all a manipulation of your time, and they kept you tired.
How did my being in an MLM affect you personally or your relationship with me?
Well, you stopped trusting me. You stopped trusting Dad too. You stopped because of what they were telling you.
Well, you and I used to talk for hours. And then so Amway and the LTD team of Amway absorbed such a large portion of your life that there was very little else left to talk about.
It definitely affected our relationship. because
for sure.
I definitely drew a line on the sand super early. about saying, hey, no, this is practice. These are practices I disagree with. This is a company. These are people that I think are toxic and not good.
Right.
And I came off really aggressively in the beginning, and so that was when it was just like, okay, nope. Then from then on, Sarah and I really only discussed like superficial things. We didn't really
Superficial.
Yep.
Yeah. Superficial.
superficial, not a little official.
Not a little official.
Superficial.
Superficial.
I knew what you were doing was not going to help you in the end. And I just kind of wanted to stay as far away from it as possible. And I didn't want to talk about it at all. And I think I think you and I kind of got a little bit separated through these last few years. And I think it's a combination of me wanting to get away from it and not talk about it, and it was a combination of that and you being all about it, and that's pretty much what was on your mind 24/7, and just because of those two factors, we just didn't talk. I kind of hated those people, especially, and I think the turning point for me when I was just like, what are you doing, was when you had totaled your car, when you were just working so freaking hard, you know, you were working a full-time job and then doing this Amway thing, and from Tuesday to Wednesday you would go off of 1 or 2 hours of sleep for a 48-hour period every single week, and I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how you were, wasting so much money on it and not seeing it. And so I just didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I had no idea how much that affected you. But yeah, you were the person that I called at 4 a.m. when I was stopped 10 feet away from a pond, having crashed my vehicle and crashed it almost into an electrical pole. And
I hated them because they pushed you that hard. I mean, you could have died. They could have pushed you to the point of death. And I think for the people who have family members caught up in an MLM, like it's serious, and they get a hold of you.
so, third question, what would you advise someone to do, or if their loved one is involved in an MLM, or even to the extent of a cult?
Yeah. So I did mention that I came off super aggressive right in the beginning, telling you, hey, no, this is wrong, this is why I don't agree with this. I would not advise that course of action. Coming off too aggressively or coming off this too opinionated throws up barriers. Makes maybe you in particular throw up walls and just like immediately like disconnect, shut off. Okay, cool. This is something that I'm not going to talk about or discuss with him because I know he's not into it. On one hand, that was nice because you weren't bothering me about Amway.
Right?
But on the other hand, it closed off any opportunity I would have had to talk to you about it. And that is more unfortunate.
Google it. Google cults and what you should do about someone who's in a cult. You learn as much about it as you can, although we didn't get a lot of straight answers when we asked you about them. This might not be the most sound advice, and psychologists might say something different, but as far as I'm concerned, the only thing you can do is back off, love the person that's in it, try to talk about other things, but they have to discover it for themselves. You had to discover it for yourself.
The biggest thing, everybody, family members who have someone in a cult, is you have to keep the line of communication open. It's so much you want to say, are you not thinking about this? Can you not see this? Blah, blah, blah. You can't attack. You can't attack it. You have to keep the lines of communication open. You have to let her know that she always has a place to come home to, and it's always safe. She will never be like ridiculed. It has to be a safe zone that she will always be able to come home to, and there won't be any judgment. You cannot buy the product because then you're giving it value. And you can't do that. So, line of communication open, safe place for them to come back to. Don't give the business any credence. And yeah, pray.
It's important to, you know, make sure that you're not necessarily saying bad things about it, because that if they're truly are committed to the business, then they're going to, you know, they're going to choose the business over you. So I think it's important not to discourage it, but at the same time not encourage it.
What have you noticed has changed in me or in our relationship since I've left?
You're changing where you're putting your energy. For instance, this YouTube channel. Instead of wasting a lot of time and energy, I think that we've kind of drifted apart over the last few years. And I think that you being out of Amway is opening the opportunity for us to grow together as siblings again.
We talked about earlier, we're having deep conversations again. We're talking about things that are important to us again, which is very nice. I appreciate that particularly because you were my closest friend for 20 years.
Right? We're like twins.
Yeah. We did everything together, so being able to get back to that point is really refreshing, really helpful. And you're more yourself. You're more fun to be around. You weren't fun to be around when you were in Amway. You were either tired or you were stressed because you didn't know how you were going to make your PV nonsense for the month.
All the quotas.
Yeah, you didn't know how you were going to make your quotas for the month, and you weren't yourself. Our relationship is getting back to what it used to be. We've got a little bit of growing to do yet to get back there, but it's happening, and that's something that I haven't been able to say for 3 years.
You're trusting us, and not that you have to trust us for anything, but that maybe you just really do know that they lied to you.
Well, first of all, leaving an MLM happens in stages. You didn't just one day wake up and go, wow, I'm in a cult. Or wow, these people are really having way too much influence over my life. It comes in stages. So even the first time, kind of segueing back to the last question, when you have a loved one that looks like they're breaking free from the MLM, or they're saying they're disavowing it, you have to proceed with caution, because like the tides, they can go in and out, and a couple times until they're really burned. But as soon as they start showing some kind of distrust for the MLM, or they start believing there's something might not be quite right, you just got to be there to answer their questions. Don't push your opinion, and don't push them any way, shape, or form, because that will just shove them back into the arms of the people you wish they'd get away from. So the changes we saw in you was hurt. But now more than anything, I see relief. I know your financial situation's a little bit better. Yeah, conversations are a lot more free-flowing. And, we're interested to see what's going to happen with you going forward. Because, I mean, the fact that you were in the MLM shows that your ambition and your drive and your desire to become a better person. So Mom and I are just excited to see what's next in your life.
Well, there you have it. I hope that this video was helpful for you. If you have a family member who is in an MLM, I hope that my family gave you some hope and some perspective. Honestly, it was heartbreaking to hear their stories. I did not know how much I had put my family through, and it broke my heart to hear some of the things that they went through. I mean, the fact that my little brother didn't feel like he could talk to me about anything because I was so obsessed with this business, and that I would choose the business over my family. I mean, it wasn't my intention. And if you're in an MLM, I understand that a lot of people actually do have the intention, like myself, to help their family in the long run. And so from my perspective, I was sacrificing the small moments now so that I could be able to give them big blessings in the long run. But I think the perspective that's often lost is the fact that if you neglect your family and turn your back on them, by the time you achieve that success, you're not going to have anybody to really celebrate that with or share that with. And I know of a lot of people who are in MLMs who have actually completely cut ties with their family. And that is just a travesty. Like, I am so grateful to my family for sticking this out with me and for putting up with everything that I put them through. I was a total jerk at times. And honestly, that is true unconditional love. That is family. Those are the people that I want to do life with. And those are the people who actually have my back. Since leaving the MLM, not one person has reached out to me and asked me genuinely how I was doing. Each woman in my upline called me or texted me once to see if I was coming to the next conference. But after I said that I was not going to be doing that anymore, nobody has followed up with me. My own sponsor didn't reach out to me at all once I stopped coming to meetings. So you might think, if you're in an MLM, you might think that these people are in it for the long run, and it's simply not true. So I am really grateful to my family, especially for opening up and being so transparent, knowing that I'm going to put this on the internet for all the world to see. They are passionate about helping people, and I put them through so much, and I know that all they want to do is give people hope and really get the story out there, because MLMs are toxic and the relationships within them are not genuine. They're not authentic. And it's just really not all that it's cracked up to be. So I hope that ends this chapter. If you have other questions, drop a comment. If you like this video, drop a like, because that's what you do on YouTube. And a big shout out to all of my subscribers. I am almost at 50, I think, and that really is exciting. I think that in this day and age, what I have noticed is that there's a lot of like before and after type testimonials, but it is a rare thing to find people who are actually willing to be with you in the trenches, working on yourself, and going through the whole process. And so if you have subscribed, or after this video you subscribe, thank you, because I really feel the love, I feel the support, and thank you especially to the people who have reached out to me either with encouragement or with their own stories of MLM just nonsense. Honestly, it might just be commiserating, but I found it so encouraging to know that I wasn't the only person who went through this terrible, terrible time. I don't take joy in your struggles, but I definitely find comfort in the fact that I was not the only person who went through this. So anyway, y'all are the realest, and I will catch you next time. Hopefully I will be posting every Thursday, because Monday through Wednesday I'm a hot mess, and Friday through Sunday I just let it all go to heck in a handbasket, you know? Don't you know? I'm losing it, but thank you, and Good night. Okay. Bye.